So, okay. There is also Ele. Welcome to all of you. Okay, we start with the prayer of refuge and bodhicitta as usual, because as usual, first we have to turn our mind toward the Dharma, and inside also transforming the motivation. So it's always very, very important. In fact, it's incredible because we can we can think that okay, we know, but really at any time we do that, it's like okay, we have to do that. It's like a reminder, a really powerful reminder. Otherwise, we just, okay, we go, we do, and without really thinking. But it's really a good moment just to think, okay, what I'm doing. Okay, I really take refuge in the Buddha, Dharma, Sangha. But for what purpose? To become excellent, I don't know, to solve a problem I have. Oh, no. Okay, maybe, yeah, there is. But mainly for the welfare of all sentient beings. So, okay. So this prayer, it's also a way, and it's considered as a mean. So it's a way, it's a mean, it's a tool to transform our mind. So we need that. So that's why we recite these prayers. So, okay, even if you don't recite, you can think inside. So it's the same. O Sangye Chudang Tsoge Chonam Lai Chanchum Prado Dane Chansuji Dage Jensoge Pechanam Ke Dola Penche Sangye Trumpai Sho Sangye Chudang Tsoge Chonam Lai Chanchum Prado Dane Chansuji Dage Jensoge Pechanam Ke Rola Penche Sangye Trumpai Sho Sangye Chudang Tsoge Chonam Lai Chanchum Prado Dane Chansuji Dage Jensoge Pechanam Ke Rola Penche Sangye Trumpai Sho Simchen Tam Je Dewa Tung Deve Ju Tung Den Brai Ju Tungal Tung Tungal Ge Ju Tung Jorai Ju Dungal Me Pe Dewa Tung Pa Tung Men Jorai Ju Niring Cha Tung Tung Jorai Tung Chin Bo La Ne Ba Ju Palen Tsawe Lama Rinpo Dage Che Wong De Kade Chenpo Gone Che Sung Ko Sung Tung Ge Wong Chan Okay, dear friends. So it means now that what we are doing together, so expounding, reflecting, meditating, so whatever we do, so we do in order to reach enlightenment. So it means that it's like saying, okay, it is starting, we are in the process of. So it's very interesting to think that In fact, even if we think about, we hear the Dharma anyway, we are in the process of reaching enlightenment. So I don't know for you, but for me, it's quite refreshing because, it helps me a lot thinking that, because otherwise, there is many activities I do. I don't have this feeling, I really have the feeling of turning around and sometimes also losing my time. But with the Dharma, we have this really wonderful feeling of not losing our time, and just to be content with ourselves. And so this is also very nice. It's a great joy in a way, I think. Anyway, so for me, it's a way to express my pleasure to do that also, because it's nice. It gives me the opportunity of thinking about these 4 dharmas of Gampopa. And so now the 2 last session, we reach the 4th dharma. So delusion that appear as wisdom. I was looking this morning in another commentary of also the same Shama Rinpoche, if I'm not wrong, but I think it's also a commentary of the 4th Shama Rinpoche. So maybe we'll jump also on that commentary, because he says some very interesting things about this 4th point. But also we can, after finishing this one, we can also take the other commentary and again visiting the 4th Dharma of Gampopa, maybe in a little bit other way, because this one is quite summarized, quite dense also, because it's really condensed. We see that on the 4th point. We already have seen the paramita approach, let's say. So it means because at the beginning it say that there is 2 approach or twofold. The tradition of the Lakshana or paramita and the secret mantra or Vajrayana. So we have to see together the Vajrayana approach. It's quite deep, and for me, it's not very easy to explain something from that, because but anyway, we'll see together what we can understand from that. So the wisdom according delusions that appear as wisdom according to the paramita. So mainly it was very interesting to see in the commentary that that if we realized that all grasped and grasping are primordially not different and non-dual. And so this was maybe a key point of this explanation. And I hope, and for me anyway, it was also the occasion to make it more clear about a key concept, what we call it in Tibetan, Sungzin. Sometimes we see that even in the recitation text we use, but Sungzin, it's really the one who grasped, and the thing that is grasped. So the grasper and the grasped. And in Sanskrit, it's something like graha and grahaka or something like this. And it's really interesting, because it's not that we don't have to grasp something. It's more subtle than this, because usually we think like this. We think that we have to be detached. For instance, I don't have to grasp, but here in that understanding, it's not exactly this. It's that the thing that we grasp on is as delusory as the grasper. So when we understand the meaningless effort we do in order to grasp something, meaningless because there is nothing to grasp. So we understand that grasping, it's the projection of the grasper. This is the illusion. So, and it's very interesting because it's not that we have to stop, saying to someone, please stop to grasp. No, it doesn't work in that way. This is just the, how we can say, the moralistic approach. It can be useful sometimes, but not for the long term. For the long term, it's more interesting to understand that the illusion, it's the game, the play that we're playing. In fact, the dance, it's like, this strange couple between a consciousness that imagine to exist and things that this consciousness, so the I, grasped, thinking that these two exist. So in fact, these two are total illusion. So when we start to understand the illusion aspect of what we grasp, so we understand the illusion aspect of the grasper, because there is no grasper out of the grasped. Impossible. We cannot find, because in fact it's the really play of the grasper to think that there is something to grasp. It's the projection, the pure projection. So this is the game of the grasper, to think that, oh, there is something, but there is something. So this concept is created by the grasper. So we play our own game. I remember I read in a very interesting book on Yogacara from Dan Lusthaus. He said that strangely, or maybe it was William Waldron, but whatever, he said that strangely, we create something, and after we grasp to that, we attached, or we want to, we grasp to that, thinking that it exists. But from the first place, it was the creation of the grasper. So there is nothing outside of the grasper. So this is really interesting, because, for instance, we think that, oh, this is ugly and I don't want that. Or this is very beautiful. I see a wonderful woman or a wonderful car or whatever, the object of my desire, or a very handsome boy, or whatever, something very strong we feel, we have desire. And because we're a human being and we are born in the desire realm, so we cannot expect not having desire. So desire, it's our how we pronounce this in English, le fuel, the benzene, the energy fuel. We have. How you pronounce it, Savannah?
Fuel.
Fuel?
Fuel, yeah.
Fuel, okay.
Or you can say gasoline. Also.
Gasoline, yes, gasoline and fuel, yes. This is our gasoline and fuel. This is my problem, because I read in English very often, but reading, it's not speaking. And so after, I have the words, but I don't know how to pronounce them. Anyway, fuel, okay, fuel. This is our fuel, desire is our fuel. So we cannot say, oh, I don't want desire. It's impossible, because we are born from desire, because of desire, and we have a body, we have a consciousness that express this desire. So we are totally trapped in that. But we are double trapped, we can say. The double trapped aspect is that we think that there is something that exists. We don't understand that in the first place, we created that. And after we attach to that. So when we think, oh, this is beautiful, marvelous, I want that, or this is very ugly, I don't want that, because both objects are functioning in the same mood, in fact, totally same mood. attraction or rejection, it's the same, because it's really the expression of thinking that something really exists. It's the expression of that. So at that moment, we react on something, thinking that this is outside. But in fact, we react on something that we created in the first place. Otherwise, there cannot be anything that appear as object of desire or object of rejection. It's impossible. We have to create that, and after, when it's done, so we can be attracted or we can reject that. So that's why the explanation here is to say, but in fact, you are grasping to your own side. You are grasping, you are, how we say that? You are grasping to yourself. So in fact, I am reacting to myself, not to something else. So when we just on a pedagogic, I don't know how to pronounce, on a pedagogic Sevena, help me, pedagogical. On the pedagogical level, it's very useful, because I can remember that as soon as I have a reaction, attraction or rejection, so I am reacting to my own creation. So I am grasping, or I am reacting to myself, to my own delusion. And so it's totally astounding, totally breathtaking, to think that and to realize that. It's just incredible, because, yeah, really. And very often I totally forget that. I don't know for you, but usually, I'm in the streets and I perceive things, and always it's something like, I like, I don't like, I want, I don't want. Always, in the mind, this is the normal functioning of the mind. He doesn't know how to react in another way. So I have to train myself to think, yeah, but you're reacting to yourself, you are playing your own game. And if I see that, even my confusion can start to be something like wisdom. And so hopefully, otherwise, you just imagine 1 second that first, in order to realize wisdom, I should get rid of my delusion. Imagine that this would be the condition. It's just something impossible, because from where I can start, to get rid of my confusion, because confusion is my way of doing, so I cannot get rid of myself. It's impossible, I cannot say, okay, the Jean-Marc I know, okay, from now on, it will never exist. So we start from we start again from the scratch. So I will build it up in a very new way. It's very difficult. So I have to proceed in another way. So I have to proceed with my confusion, and so this is very helpful, because my confusion teach me something. If I am fascinated by something, okay, it has to do with me. It's not a problem of the thing that is fascinating me, It can be my problem, but if the problem exists, it's because, I gave some fuel to that problem, to that situation. Otherwise, impossible, Otherwise, it doesn't exist. So confusion start to become wisdom, in a very, very practical way, in a very low level. this is our level, this is my level, because otherwise, it's not magic, I cannot just do something that suddenly, I don't know, desire or anger, appear as the idam. So this is the way we think, but in the reality of me, myself in the street, so no, me, myself in the street, I just react in a very simple way. And it teach me something, really. So this is, let's say, the parameter aspects, the parameter approach, as it is said here. If one has realized in such a way that all grasp and grasping are primordially not different and non-dual, have a nature that is inherently, utterly pure, are free from appearing and non-appearing, are thoroughly pacified from grasp and grasping, and are free from the extremes of elaboration, then it is delusions that appear as wisdom. Okay, so when we understand that these two, me, myself, and projection of myself that appear as object, these two are non-different and non-dual and have a nature that is inherently utterly pure, because it's just an illusion, it has nothing to do with something concrete. So just this, will help me a lot in a very practical day-to-day life, everyday life. And after we have, this is clear or not? Huh? I think it's quite clear, but we can discuss about that. Huh? Oh, really? No problem. Because now we'll have the other part. More difficult, I think. I don't know. We'll see. Delusions appear as wisdom according to the Vajrayana. So according to the Vajrayana in the commentary. So how delusions appear as wisdom according to the Guya Mantrayana. Guya Mantrayana, it's just the Sangha Dorje Tekpa. So it means the secrets. In Tibetan, we say Sangha Dorje Tekpa. So it means the Vajrayana, or how we say, the vehicle of the secret mantra. So this is the name we use. Anyway, so in that context, it means in the context of our regular Chenrezig practice. Huh? We are not speaking of something else. Tantra, this is Tantra. There is no other Tantra than Tantra. So there is different aspect in the Tantra practice, but these are Tantra. So in this context, since every delusion and non-delusion, so these two, neither exist as two, nor something different in one's mind. So again, we find this aspect. So these two, delusion and non-delusion, neither exist as two. So this is really, these first words are quite, I don't know if we can say easy to understand, but almost easy to understand. So it's just a very nice concept for us. Anyway, for me, it's a very nice concept to just imagine that these two neither exist as two. So there is not something that I can call delusion and something that I can call non-delusion. So as we said in the parameter approach, so this dualistic way of perceiving are, let's say, wrong, but maybe it's not wrong, but are illusion by themselves, because it's not the proper characteristic. We cannot say that there is really two. There is not. We cannot say that there is really an eye that perceives a real object outside. We cannot say that. There is an interaction clear interaction. And the easiest way to understand that, it's to, for instance, we take all of us, we are, how many we are? We are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we take all of us and we work something in Vienna, for instance. I come to see you, we drink a tea, and we walk in the street. So we'll react. Everyone will react in a very different way with the object we perceive. This is just the basic understanding that we can have of our human life. We are all different. Okay, but if this is the case, so it means that what we perceive are clearly linked to ourselves, not to everyone. So it means even if it's a real, it's just something, when we say it, we may react, yes, thinking that, okay, we understood already, we don't have to be bothered with this again, But it's really interesting because it means that we have just a particular link with what we react on, Otherwise, it's impossible. We cannot have a reaction to something if this something has nothing to do with ourselves. So that's why it's not two, We perceive it as two, but it has to do something with ourselves. So this is the basic level to understand that there is no two. Otherwise, we'll have the same reaction for everyone. But it's not the case. Obviously, it's not the case. So it teaches something to ourselves. It shows us our own system. So this is our own system. So we cannot say that there is two. So since every delusion and non-delusion neither exists as two, but here we say delusion and non-delusion. So it's like going further, it's not thinking that just the object and the subject, these two doesn't exist and they are on the same level. It's also to understand that this delusion in which I am dwelling, it's not something that exists more or less than the non-delusion aspect. So it's more subtle. So anyway, these two, delusion and non-delusion, neither exist as two nor something different in one's mind, nor something different. So this is very important because we cannot say that these two are totally different and totally non-different. So this is the strange aspect. Because if it's totally different, so these two have nothing to do with each other. And if it's non-different, so it means that there is no reason to be in a delusion state and a non-delusion state. Because non-delusion or delusion will be non-delusion and non-delusion will be delusion. So it's just a way to say that we cannot make it so simple, It's not like that. But it's very important to understand that these two categories are not totally relevant, delusion and non-delusion. Okay, it is the nature of the mind, the essence of the mind, and the magical display of the mind. So this is very beautiful because it's the nature of the mind. The nature, it's the way the mind is. The essence of the mind, it's the essence of what appears also, and or the essence of what there is. And the magical display of the mind, it's a way of saying already that whatever appears to us, this is, as we understood in the paramita approach, are the production of the mind. So here we say magical display. So rolpa, it's rolpa in Tibetan is to say the play, the play, the game. We can also translate as the dynamic. So, and it's also very interesting because it means that any kind of object that we perceive are not fundamentally bad. It's just the expression of our mind. So I think that for us, and at least for me, it's a kind of reconciliation with myself. Otherwise, I have plenty reasons to think that I'm very the baddest one, because I'm very ordinary and I make no progress, and I have many reasons to think that. But if I read that, there is something totally helpful, I feel the compassion of the Buddha, really. I feel the compassion of the Buddha. They are just explaining me. What are explaining me? They are explaining me that, okay, it's not very bad, It's just just the natural game of your mind. So don't believe to that, Don't believe that it exists as you imagine. It's just normal, it's normal that the samsara appear for you. You are not so bad, It's not your fault that there is a samsara appearing, that you have desire, that you have anger, that you have jealousy, that you have pride, And so it's I can feel the compassion of the Buddha in that moment, And hopefully, otherwise it will be terrifying, Because if it's not, just imagine 1 second that it's not the magical display of the mind. So so who is this display of, The display of whom, The display of a demon, of someone who wants to make me trapped in that play, So how I can go out, I can get free from that display, if it's not mine. If it's, for instance, the fault of Sevana that makes that I have the life I have, so I have to beg Sevana, please stop that illusion, please give me the key, please stop, stop to turn the lighter on, please turn off, and she has the power. And if she says, no, I will never turn off, so I'm trapped in that, it will never stop. So to understand that the magical display of the mind, it's my magical display of the mind. So this is really helpful. So it means that I can start to work with that. I can start to do something with the guy I am, with the woman I am, Hopefully, we can do something. For my cat, it's very difficult, how he can do something with the magical display of his mind. It's very difficult, because for him, I see that it's very difficult for him. We have 2 cats in the house, in the home, and one is very chill out, chill, very cool, he's the king, and the other one, she's the grandma and always afraid, and we have to be very careful, two personality, two totally different, and the youngest one, the strongest one, the more pridest one, he wants to chase after the old grandma as soon as he can, as many times he can, anyway, he's after her. And sometimes not, we don't understand why, but okay. And usually when he's in the mood of chasing, the grandma, he cannot stop. It's impossible for him to, and so we have to do something, and suddenly, he stopped, but we see that he stopped, but this is just for 1 second, in his mind, it's not, it's not stopping. He continued to be totally attracted to, he want to jump on the other one, and we are like that. But for him, understanding that this is his own display will be very, very difficult, because he needs to see himself. He needs to take a break and to think, but what is this game? But we can do that. So that's why we say magical display. And that's why it's a great compassion that it's expressing in these words. Because the Buddha says to us, it's a magical display. So you have to be out of the game in order to say that it's a game. And so after that, we have the qualities to understand that, okay, yes, maybe it's a magical display of myself, of no one else. So within the deluding agent in self, within the I, it is on the basis of the clear and naked reality that one needs to realize the non-existence of luminosity. So it is based on the recognition of my own nature that I can realize the non-reality of this display. So, it means that when I realize my own nature, so I can understand that also the nature of this display is illusory. So again, it's a different approach, but we find again the explanation of the paramita, because it's if I really understand that, even now, even if I didn't realize nothing, but even now, if I understand that, okay, my nature is totally pure, but there is something that emerged from that. There is a magical display of that, from that. And so this luminosity, because we call it luminosity, so this luminosity, it's not existing because it's just a display of my nature. So it appears to me as something, delusory, because I'm trapped in my reactions. But all of this is just the display. First, it's all projection of my mind. And so I can understand something. I can understand this. I can understand the power of my mind, the power it has to display this magical display. So this is really important. So if I understand that power, I can start to use that power. This is what I'm doing when I'm creating a visualization, for instance. It's not something else. And I can also understand that, anyway, this magical display is as illusory as the I or the existence of an ego. These two are illusory, and these two are just, for now, the expression of my pure nature. And this is a mystery, why my pure nature can produce delusion, how I can start to believe to something illusory can be produced even if I am totally pure. So to understand that, it's to understand that, but it's pure from the beginning. It's pure from the beginning. In fact, this illusory aspect was never there. I just believed to that, but it was pure in itself. So this is difficult for us to understand. But in the Tantra, we say that in the Tantra, as it is explained here, the nature is pure by itself, you know. So it's just because it's like forgetting our own nature. So we start to believe in the display of that nature as something different from the nature. But also it's because of this confusion that we can, from the confusion that we can go to non-confusion, also because of that. And anyway, so I will again repeat this phrase: within the deluding agent itself, it is on the basis of the clear and naked reality that one needs to realize the non-existence of luminosity and concept, the non-existence of identifiable luminosity and emptiness. So that there is nothing that can be labeled really as luminosity or emptiness. There is not something that we can say, oh, emptiness exists. You know, this is the emptiness. It will not be possible, you know, because everything is emptiness. It's not something that we catch the emptiness saying, oh, this is the emptiness of phenomena. No, emptiness, we cannot do that with emptiness. It's more the nature of phenomena by themselves. You know, it's not something that there is in the phenomena. There are from the start, there are emptiness. So emptiness, it's not outside of the phenomena. So we cannot identify emptiness as something. It's impossible. And okay, and we need to realize the non-existence of uninterrupted luminosity and emptiness, and the non-existence of luminosity and emptiness. It's very difficult, this passage, for me, which is without extreme or middle, and that awareness is without support. So in that passage, you know, I feel lost, and not lost with totally lost with the words, but I feel that I'm lost. I feel that I'm lost because he's trying, the fourth Shaman, he's trying to take away any object I can grasp on. I have no words, you know. I have this feeling, you know, because the non-existence of luminosity and emptiness, so it doesn't exist. So it means that the projection and the emptiness itself doesn't exist, you know, and which is without extreme or without. So it means that it's totally out of any concept that I can have. And that awareness, Rigpa, is without support. So there is nothing that I can say it's based on, you know. So it means that, because now, you know, my understanding and maybe yours is based on something. And because we are like this, you know, we need to base something on, you know, to base our understanding on something. Otherwise, you know, it's very difficult. And even my understanding of confusion is based on my understanding. For instance, you know, I don't have a direct recognition of the nature of things. And there is no more nature of things, you know, in that case. There is no more emptiness that I can say, okay, this is emptiness. It's really, he speaks, I think, I'm not totally sure, but I think that at that moment in the commentary, he really speaks from his realization. And from that point of view, you know, for me, it's, I don't understand something, you know, it's really too far from me, you know. So, but anyway, you know, the words are here, so we hear them, and slowly we can make the wish. And this is very important, you know. I always remember Lama Tenzin, when he was explaining the Dharma. Sometimes, it was very difficult, even for him, in the books, because sometimes in the text, I remember once I was a young translator, and I don't know, I said to him, okay, why not to teach one day the commentary of the 8 or 9, I think it's the 8th Situ Rinpoche on the Mahamudra wishes. So this we can do together. It will be beautiful things to do. Anyway, and please teach that, And at that moment, he said, yeah, why not? I have the text. So we started he started to give the explanation, For me, it was awful, and for him, it was also very difficult. And I remember he said, yeah, okay, this, I don't know how to explain, but the translator himself, anyway, he cannot explain. So we just jump on that, we forget for now because it's too difficult. But maybe I can start to understand few words, of that. But because sometimes, these masters, they are accomplished ones. So they speak from their realization, But just to say it, yet 2 days ago, for instance, 2 days ago, I will just share with you that I found a beautiful text from Karmapa, and I have to share that with you because it's just incredible. Yeah, it's beautiful. He said, the first sentence, if there was a self, the experience of a self would match reality. The rest of the text, okay, you can understand. But this, if there was a self, the experience of a self would match reality. I don't know for you, but for me, it's wow. What he's trying to tell me, if there was a self, so it will match the reality. What does that mean? And so, yeah, with that, I'm convinced that they are really speaking from their realization, because you otherwise you cannot imagine such a sentence, it's impossible. If there was a self, so the reality will match the self. And so it means that all the problem we have, it's because it doesn't match. We are not in the way I can understand, it's the way we are not in tune with the reality. So we are disconnected from the reality because the I is the disconnection from the reality. So this I can understand. I can understand that the phenomena are there, what they are, and I'm not on the level of the phenomena. I'm on the illusory aspect of phenomena, and phenomena are there, or like this, it doesn't matter. It's not to say more important or less important. It's just that we are parallel, and it doesn't match. So this I can understand. But the sentence like this, yeah, it's really, and it's very interesting for what we are seeing now, because this is the exact problem, the reality, how it is, doesn't match with our understanding. So that's why we are disappointed by the reality always, because it's not as we expect. On a very basic level, on a very basic level, we would be very happy if, for instance, things last, and if things last forever. Are we willing to die? No. I don't want. I want to exist. I really want to exist. I really want not to suffer, and so on, I don't accept in a very basic level. And it's, if someone tell you, I really accept the nature of things, two possibilities. The first, it's the absolute truth. So it's marvelous, really. And the other one, it's denying the confusion in which we are, thinking that I am in tune with reality, but I can create the illusion to be in tune with reality. Because if I go deeper in myself, in a very where I try to hide myself, where I want to protect myself, I can perceive that there is something that wants to be protected, that wants not to die, that wants to be secure, and things like that, And so I cannot pretend that for me it's easy to die, no? Or easy to be cut in pieces, No. Great bodhisattva can be cut in pieces. Okay, no problem. So that's why when we hear these stories, we may think, wow, these are stories, but yeah, sure, there are stories, but these stories tell us something. It tells us that for us, it's unimaginable, And so, because we don't fit with reality. So, for us, delusion appear as delusion, not as wisdom. So saying that delusion can appear as wisdom, it means that delusion appear as they are. So delusion is wisdom. Totally. There is no delusion. There is no wisdom. And this is the wisdom. Yeah, Pavel.
Yeah, Mark, could you repeat again the sentence of Karmapa? Because
yeah, sure. I will send you. You after.
Yeah, but now
Yeah, sure. I will tell you right now. Okay. If there was a self, the experience of a self would match reality.
Will match reality, no?
Would match reality.
Will match in affirmative, no? Okay.
Would in the sense of if this was the case, so the reality will be totally okay for the self.
Yeah.
If there is if, so that's why he say would, because if there was a self, if there was something that we can call self, if we really exist, so exist as anything exists, so it means we'll be in the same level.
And then yeah, because for one moment I was experiencing a little different, because if is when I mean, obviously I'm talking about my non-realization. Obviously about that.
Anyway, this is what we have to talk, because
which is already funny, not funny in the beginning, But this yeah, talking about that is like what I understood from this sentence is like really the self match the reality. It's in my case I have some inclination to this point because it's actually if the self is obviously confused, match also the reality, like is confused where the things are not as one expect. No, this is why for me the sentence of Karmapa means like there is a match between the self and the reality, but the if for me is giving the space to understand, like at the same time also doesn't exist both, no, and the match in itself, no? It's more like this.
But I think you understand it quite well, because we cannot say in the way you're presenting, because we can, according to the commentary we saw, because we are deluded, so the reality that we perceive is delusion. So from this point of view, it totally match. It's not and you're right. It's not a hazard, or it's not a trick that things are like this. It's totally normal to suffer in this world, or to experience even happiness in the way we're experiencing it, because we are in a delusion mood, we can say, with delusionary mood of existence. So we perceive reality in the delusionary mood of existence. And so these two match on a way. But it match, when we say it match, it's a way of saying because we are struggling with the reality, hoping that reality will appear differently. But what you say is very important, because I think if just for us at our level, if we understand that it's totally normal that reality that we experiment present itself to ourselves in that way, this is absolutely normal, because it's just the mirror of our own confusion. So if we understand this, for us, it's quite helpful, because we start not to be angry with the reality. Otherwise, reality will appear for us always as something that we never wanted, and something that we has nothing to do with. And it's the contrary, in fact, the total contrary, because of what we are in this reality. Because of our confusion, we are in the confusion. So this is quite clear. But the sentence of Karmapa, it's interesting because it say, but if there was a self, so if there was really something that we expect to be, because we expect to exist as a self, we can say it would be extraordinary, to be totally real. So if we think that, if we think in that way, so the experience of self would match reality. If we can say the existence of the I, it's totally of the self, it's totally true. So nothing can deceive it. But it's the contrary. It's always deceiving. And because it's deceiving, it comes from the fact that we imagine something that never exists. But you're right. The experience of what we have is clearly linked to the self we have.
And then about the approach of Vajrayana, really, the Paramita approach, I understand well. I mean, the words, obviously. The Vajrayana I don't, tell me if I'm wrong, it's like going a step forward and also saying that this perception is out of the streams, but the difference in themselves, I don't get it very well, because also maybe it's because I assume that in the paramita approach also the subject is has not reality, no? It's not like it's I don't know how to explain, because I'm reflecting about that.
Yeah, sure. Me too.
But
Me too.
but this is what I want to say is, I understand the method of the Vajrayana, why we use some the creation phase and dissolving phase to approach to this sentence, to this point you were approaching before with the Vajrayana. I can understand, like, we use this method as a way of getting closer slowly. Yeah, I think this is the way. But because the other one is more, for me, sounds more like Mahamudra, no? Like really just rest in, because there is nothing to cling at, you know. This is why it's for me, I'm a little now reflecting of this thing. I don't know what you could say, like to help me a little bit more.
To help you, I would I would like to help you more, but I don't know if I can help you more. I think you understand it quite well. Yes, the Vajrayana approach is, explaining in that way, it's quite complicated, but maybe it can be more clear if we go to the last part of this commentary. So like that, we'll finish the commentary and maybe we'll find some explanation that helps us to understand this point. I think, because otherwise, so like that, we'll receive, by the blessing of the fourth Shamarpa, we'll maybe understand something. I don't know, which we try. So he say after that, the co-emergent nature of the mind. Co-emergent nature of the mind means that this is really interesting. And this is also very Mahamudra, because co-emergent nature of the mind means that there is the Marikpa and Yeshe together, you know, they are co-emergent. So it means that when I'm deluded, in the same time, I'm not deluded. So Marikpa, so it means that the ignorance co-emerge with wisdom always. They are not separated. So this is the co-emergent nature of the mind. So the co-emergent nature of the mind, such as this is the essence of the Dharmakaya. So this is interesting, because when we say Dharmakaya means emptiness. So emptiness, the essence of emptiness is to be both deluded aspect and non-deluded aspect. So this is really a tantric way of saying. We find this also in the Mahamudra, clearly, but this is really important. But when we say deluded, it doesn't mean that there is a delusion in the Dharmakaya. Absolutely not. It's just an aspect. The aspect, it's like the Dharmakaya has the aspect of delusion, and this is the delusion. When it has the face of delusion, but this delusion never exists by itself. So it's just a way of presenting, it's when we say is the essence of Dharmakaya, everything is Dharmakaya always, The worst anger or worst desire that we can have, or attachment or pride or whatever, it's always Dharmakaya. It's just suffering because it appears to us as suffering, but it doesn't exist in itself, hopefully. And he continues saying that, and the co-emergent appearance, so the world, in fact, the world, is the radiance of the Dharmakaya. So again, co-emergent nature of the mind and co-emergent appearance. One is the essence of Dharmakaya, one is the radiance of Dharmakaya. Always. All external objects to be grasped, what appears and exists, so the phenomena of cycle existence and nirvana, these two, are no different from the mind itself. Again, so this is in the Vajrayana approach. So in that part, we understand more. It's more clear for us.
Yeah, then now you're right, because with this, I understood. If this is the essence, I understood. The only thing is, yes, for me, the separation between Vajrayana and Mahamudra, the category of Vajrayana and Mahamudra, in this last part you were telling us, I don't see the separation, because actually, it's you can understand that everything what you perceive, object or the nature of your thoughts is are both the Yesha and Marikpa. Then the only thing matters is just to rest there, and then the true nature appear, because it's always there. No, I mean, more or less like that. No.
Yeah, it's an important point. We can see another kind of explanation with the fourth Shamarpa other commentary. Will be very interesting for that, because he tried to make us understand more the relation of Mahamudra and Vajrayana. But we'll just finish this saying that, okay, all external objects to be grasped, what appears and exists of cycle of existence and nirvana, are not different from the mind itself, non-dual, equal, and free from elaboration, which needs to appear as great bliss. To sum up, these delusions are non-awareness, so marikpa, these delusions. When that awareness, rikpa, appears as wisdom, so it is delusion appearing as wisdom. So when this marikpa appear as rikpa, so the delusion appear as wisdom. So when our ignorance appear as non-ignorance, so the delusion appear as wisdom. So this is the conclusion of this part. But for that, on the other commentaries, we'll see the other commentary the next session. It will be interesting, I think, because with that we can just also imagine that it's enough to stay here like this, and naturally the ignorance will appear as non-ignorance. But he has some remarks on that, because he said that even if it's the case, we'll have to continue the path, because otherwise, but for a very simple reason, because even if this so, even if we can understand that there is no differences at all, in our everyday life, we continue to make differences. So we just has to continue to transform, to purify and to transform, because To purify and transform, it means that as soon as we have a klesha that appear, strong attachment or something, so we have to use antidote. So, but it's very important, even if we don't understand something really clearly about the view, the ultimate view, it's very important to understand that, because with that understanding, we can use the antidote, not forgetting that anyway, we're using these antidotes because we need them, but fundamentally, there is nothing to worry about, because there is nothing as a real confusion that exists by itself. So it's very important, because even at our level, it makes us more relaxed. Otherwise, we start to fight. We start to fight with the delusion, and this will be awful, because it will reinforce the delusion, because we'll fight the delusion with our fighting aspect, not with our wisdom aspect, not with our compassion aspect. And so using the antidote with the view, it's absolutely compulsory for us, absolutely necessary for us. We have to. Otherwise, we are using the same logic. We use the Dharma as an ordinary tool to fix the world, but there is nothing to fix. So we are a fighter, and we want to win, so we are in the same logic, but there is no winner in that. We just use the antidote in order to understand what the Shyama Rinpoche just told us, that at the end, anyway, you will discover that there is no separation. And from the start, you don't have to think that there is a real separation between samsara and nirvana. If you do that, so you reinforce the main problem. The main problem is to think that things are separated, that there is a real samsara and that there is a real nirvana. If you practice the Dharma in that way, you will have many enemies. Even your thoughts will be your enemies. That's why Gampopa says to the great meditator, he said, great meditator, don't look at your thoughts as your enemies. He says that for that, because we can be a fighter, we can be in a cave meditating for 10 years because we think that it's really important to be out of this world, as something that we have to reject. But where is the compassion, in that case? Where is the understanding of the illusory aspect of the world? We take it for granted that something exists, so we just want to escape. But escaping, this is the logic of ignorance. Fighting is the logic of ignorance. So this we can understand at our level, Even if we are very ordinary beings, we can, because with the help of the view, slowly we can transform our way of doing. And for me, it's really important, because otherwise I will be in full despair, looking at myself. I will have no hope, because even if in our life we want to make many progress, it's difficult to make progress because we are like we are, and it's not. We change, yes, hopefully, but not totally, So it's very interesting to have the view and to remember that anyway, all of this is it's not fundamentally bad, you know. Even my problems are not fundamentally bad. They are teaching me something, you know. It's not a bad trip. It's also a good trip, you know. Samsara, even if it can be ugly, it's from that I can develop some understanding. So this is a more, you know, everyday level of understanding, but I think it's really interesting, important also, because yeah, this can be the effect of these commentaries, you know, because it speaks on a very high level, but after okay, how we can take that from, you know, take these elements in our everyday life. So maybe we can take, I don't know, there's many elements, but we can just take the elements that there is no separation. This would be a very, very simple element, but a very useful element, you know, to think that, you know, co-emergent nature is the essence of the Dharmakaya. So the nature of the mind is the Dharmakaya, you know, with the aspect of ignorance and non-ignorance. Both of them are the essence of Dharmakaya. And the co-emergent appearance is the radiance of Dharmakaya. So it means that whatever it appears as delusion or as non-delusion. This is the display of Dharmakaya. So understanding this be quite useful.
Yeah, Mark, I have a question related with this part of the Vajrayana. I don't know if now we are already in the part of the Vajrayana.
Yes, we finished
okay,
the part of the Vajrayana. This is the end of the commentary.
Okay, then I have several questions. Like, don't have to be for now. Can be for the future. But is one of the one question I always had is if one can practice the Vajrayana without having the experience, at least the experience of emptiness. If the Vajrayana could be practiced without having this experience, because in the part of the Mahayana, I really understand that even if it's an amazing and vast way, there is a very important also intellectual approach. In the Vajrayana, also I think I mean my feeling is like it's really difficult to understand without having an experience of emptiness, because when I read the life history of all the great masters, I mean what I read from them is like already they have some experience of emptiness. Maybe are not all the time there, but they have the experience. No? And this is one of the questions. The second question is about what you said before. It is like how to do in our daily life using the Vajrayana, no? And there is also the part when we do Chenrezig, for example, and then after the sadhana, at the end of the sadhana, then we reappear as Chenrezig, no? And everything is the pure land of Chenrezig. You know how to make the bridge between this point where we are already Chenrezig and our daily life, if we don't have the experience of emptiness. Because if we approach, as you said before, in the paramita, the intellectual way helps a lot. But I think for me, if I try to apply the one way, which is like you are I'm Chenrezig and this is pure land, without using the intellectual, it's impossible. I mean, it's like now I'm painting a a beautiful world where everything is like this, but and then the other thing is when you do, I know this you will not answer, maybe in the 6 yogas of Naropa, there is a practice which I think is called the illusory body, and it is like, I think, if I'm not wrong, is somehow or the dream. I don't remember exactly the one. Is like the practitioner perceives everything outside like a dream, no? And my question is trained into that, no? My question is how to, if it's possible to do Vajrayana without having the experience of emptiness, and how we apply, in case of it's not needed, how we apply these methods in our daily life. No?
I think it's a beautiful subject for our next session, absolutely. Yeah. But I can already say that as far as I can understand something, but I would say that it's absolutely necessary to have an experience of emptiness in order to practice Vajrayana. For me, it's absolutely clear. But I would also say that by practicing the Vajrayana method, it's a way to have an understanding of emptiness. Both are true, because it's not that I have I need first an understanding of emptiness. It helps to have an understanding of emptiness in order to enter in a proper way in the practice of Vajrayana. This is absolutely sure. But after using the Vajrayana method, it's a way of realizing emptiness. But you're right, it's the key point. Emptiness is a key point. Otherwise, no, it's impossible. Because when we reappear as Chenrezig, and everything is the Pure Land, whatever we perceive, it's the display of Chenrezig. It's exactly what we just heard from here. But we understand from here, from that commentary. But so it means that we have, at that moment, we have to we have to remember that there is no separation between what we perceive and our mind, because our mind is Chenrezig. To say the mind is Chenrezig is just to say that the pure nature of the mind is there. So whatever appear from there. There is no separation at all between these two. These two are co-emergent. So I think this phrase at the end of the commentary is really, really important. So co-emergent nature of the mind and co-emergent appearance. So these two, because during my everyday life, I am Jean-Marc, but I'm Chenrezig. I always remember Lama Tenzong saying that, but we are already that. It's not that we become, we are the nature of the Yidam. This is our true nature. So this is the co-emergent aspect, because I am Jean-Marc, the confused ego, the confused self that speaks with you, but at the same time, I'm also Chenrezig, really from the start, from the beginning. This is my true nature. My true nature is to be a Buddha, so this is clear. I have this clarity. I have this emptiness nature of the mind, clarity nature of the mind, simplicity nature of the mind, right now within myself. I'm these two. So this is the co-emergent nature. And I train myself to remember that whatever I perceive is also the radiance of that mind. So the co-emergent appearance is the radiance of the Dharmakaya. So, but anyway, these are words, we know that. And clearly, yeah, we need to understand emptiness, and we need to practice emptiness to do Vajrayana. This is absolutely clear. But practicing emptiness means also practicing compassion. These two are linked together. There is no compassion without emptiness. There is no emptiness without compassion. Absolutely not. Because this is the compassion that we can have. First of all, we can have it for ourselves. Because we can, the first compassion that we can have is saying, oh, you are trapped in the illusion, thinking that it exists. Poor you. So this is the first compassion that we can have. And this compassion comes from our understanding that reality, it's also delusory because we believe in it. So the understanding of illusion is emptiness. When we understand emptiness, so we understand the nature of illusion. So understanding the nature of illusion means to start to have or to feel compassion, to have compassion. Because we know that we delude ourselves, we trap ourselves in these beliefs, believing that it exists. When I see myself, I have a lot of compassion for myself. But really, and I need that, I need that, not to be despair, because to be despair will never help me, never. But to have compassion means, for me, starting to have understanding of all we see together, yeah.
And thank you very much. I'm sorry I'm making so many questions, but I'm so happy
it's perfect. It's perfect.
Also, I would love to listen question from all of you, because it's really for me it's amazing to learn from each other, and I'm so happy.
Sure. But next time, we can take that point, the link between emptiness and the Vajrayana. We can go further with that.
Yeah, and the thing I wanted to ask is, because you said before that the Tantra Vajrayana is like this, but appears in like Kriya, Tantra, Anuttara Yoga, and my question is, for example, when you say I'm Jean-Marc and also I'm Chenrezig, in this kind of practice where you see yourself or you visualize yourself Chenrezig, but also there is the practice where you see the deity, the Jidam in front, and this has also a little taste like it's something separate from you. Like outside. I mean, the taste is like, because it's you see outside, or visualize like it's in front. And my question is, this is also an expression that Chenrezig also as a deity has an existence, and because somehow the blessing, when you ask for blessing, somehow technically for me is, even if I know this is not the ultimate truth, is you ask for a blessing to someone or something, or Sambodakaya or Nirmanakaya, but at the end is you ask for a blessing like this comes to you, and also in all the practice is like raining or blessing and so on. It's like something come from outside to inside and touch you inside. My question is, you have to how you see that, how you see this aspect of the blessing connected with the Yilam, like it's outside, and also connected with the idea like everything what we perceive is our own mind, nothing is outside of this, you know.
For me, it's very simple, really, because I consider that praying to receive blessing, it's absolutely necessary, and I do it from the bottom of my heart, really, as far as when I do it in a proper way. So really, I ask for this blessing, and this blessing is coming, absolutely. But I'm totally convinced that this blessing that I feel, that comes and blessed myself and all sentient beings, in fact, it's the expression of the ultimate reality that it's already existence in myself. Because these two are not separated, absolutely not. This blessing I receive it in order to realize my true nature. So I'm totally convinced that finally I will really understand that these two are not separated. But at my level, it's a great help to have the opportunity of asking for that blessing. It's beautiful because asking for that blessing means to ask. So asking means to develop something in myself, means to develop confidence, means to develop devotion, means to develop devotion, confidence in what? In the blessing. So in what? In the nature of what I receive. So by developing the qualities that are needed to receive the blessing, I am already starting to be more confident with my nature. Because by developing confidence, I have to be confident in order to receive the blessing. Otherwise, I receive nothing. I have to be totally sincere. Please grant me your blessing. I have to pray sincerely. So to pray sincerely means that I have this confidence. I have this devotion. So these are qualities that I can develop. So developing these qualities, it's already a development of myself, a development of my qualities. So this development will help me to receive the blessing, but it goes in both ways, because I develop these qualities that makes me receiving the blessing. So it means that from the start, I am linked with the blessing. Because from the start, I'm confident in what I can receive. So if I'm not confident in what I can receive, so I will never ask for, but I will ask for it. I will ask for the blessing because I'm confident in the blessing. So being confident in the blessing means being confident in my nature. I don't realize that at the start, but clearly it's a confidence that comes from my nature. I cannot be confident without believing that it exists. So it means that this confidence starts from myself. So it means that I start to be confident in my nature because I start to be confident in the blessing that I can receive to develop this nature. So it means that I start to develop this confidence in myself. So it's a process. It's a process of receiving the blessing. So a process using the existence of generosity outside, but it's okay, because anyway, this is necessary in order to understand that finally there is no separation between this generosity outside and this generosity inside. No separation at all.
Yeah,
but I need...
there is no separation. This is true in the ultimate nature.
Yeah.
There is no separation, but there is a separation because you are asking at the same time, no?
Yeah, sure.
And my question is in this aspect of you are asking to is because, for example, when I ask for blessing for Guru Rinpoche, for me is I'm 100% sure, like Guru Rinpoche is in Sambodakaya form giving me the blessing. This I'm sure. I don't have any doubt about that.
Yeah.
The question is still I don't get so much blessing to understand that. This is why I'm asking. This is why I'm asking you. That means that in a reality, this Guru Rinpoche has existence as Sambodakaya form, and this form is outside, even if everything is impossible to say outside. But as you explained, this Guru Rinpoche is outside of me, and to this form I'm praying for, no? Right?
Yeah, sure, because that's why we speak of the three bodies. But we don't only speak of the three bodies. We speak also of these three bodies as the essential body. And the essential body means that they are never separated, but they are separated.
Yeah.
These two, the problem we have, it's that when we say not separated, we cannot imagine that at the same time that they can be separated. And when we say separated, we cannot imagine that at the same time they are not separated. Exactly. Our main problem is that. Because we really think that if something is separated, so this is the definite nature of things. They are separated. But in fact, with this explanation, we understand that, okay, we can say that they are separated and non-separated. So both of them are totally true. So we can ask for a blessing outside. We do, and we ask and we receive completely from outside. But at the same time, we are never separated from that blessing from the beginning. Never. Because it's our nature. But because what we are, we cannot do in another way. Because we believe in the existence of outside. So that's the trick of the Tantrayana. It's to say, because you believe that there is something outside, so we'll use that in order to realize finally that there is no separation. So this is the pedagogical way of doing of Tantrayana. It's to play the outside aspect, to use the outside aspect in order to understand that there is no outside aspect. So this is why it's helpful for us. But really, between the Sutra, Mahayana Sutra and Tantra, there is no many differences. Because when we say emptiness is forms, forms are emptiness, there is no emptiness outside the forms, there is no forms outside the emptiness. This is the Heart Sutra. When we say that, we are not saying something really different when we say co-emergent nature of the mind. Because co-emergent means that the two coexist. So appearance and emptiness, seltong yerme. And this is a terminology of the Mahamudra, saying that clarity, emptiness, all together, undifferentiated. So this is really the continuity of the Mahayana Sutra. And it's clear, because otherwise, if emptiness will be totally outside of phenomena, we'll never reach into emptiness. Never. So emptiness has to be in phenomena, and phenomena has to be emptiness. Otherwise, no way. So Chenrezig has to be in ordinary life. An ordinary life has to be Chenrezig. Otherwise, no way. Impossible. But yeah. After we do the way, yeah.
But thank you, because it was very enlightening, your answer. May click in some point. I was struggling for some time.
Thank you. I hope. Anyway, we all together we are trying to understand, and this is there is no difference between us. We are just trying, and this is very good.
Mark, one question. Mm-hmm. It's about transmission.
Yes.
Could I say, like, you have the transmission of Karma Kayu, for example, when you do the retreat, 3-year retreat, could I say, like, you have the transmission? I mean, technically, because
technically, yes. Technically, you can say yes. Technically, that's why technically, I can transmit the Dharma. So that's why I transmit the Dharma. So technically, I have the transmission. Technically, I can give a lung. So because I received it, and so I can give a lung. Technically, I can give refuge vows. So sometimes I give refuge vows. So technically, I can do.
Yeah.
Yeah, but after that, also technically, it's very nice to receive from accomplished master the transmission, not from myself. But technically, I do, and it's not wrong to do.
No, because for me, it's something also connected with the things you were explaining some weeks ago when you had the meeting in Montchaldon about the future of the Karma Kayu. Mm-hmm. And how we'll be together. I mean, in the Diamond Way, the word transmission many times is used in a way which is not very clear. And that's why I wanted to ask you that in order to know, because for some time I was also like sharing Dharma. I mean, imagine the degenerates times, the Kali Yuga, how bad it is. and then I technically and initially I had to stop, because I think the part of transmission, I felt that if I don't have the transmission, for sure, if I have the transmission, also I can make mistakes, as everyone, but transmission should be a condition to really share the Dharma, This is something which I mean, yes. I wanted to ask you that.
Sure. No, sure. No, clearly. Personally, on a more personal level, I will never do what I'm doing now if I had not made the 3-year retreats, and if I didn't receive the authorization from Lama Tenzong to act as a Lama of the Kagyu tradition. Never. never. Because even that, I'm saying that because even now, I feel sometimes very uncomfortable with that, you know, because I'm a very ordinary person. So it's not easy for me to accept to be as ordinary as I am and to share the Dharma with others, you know. So it's also a way of practicing the Dharma for me. You know, I have to go through that, you know, I have to understand why it's happening to me, and it's not that easy. But for sure, I will never do that without the blessing of the lineage, without the authorization of the Lama. Impossible for me. It will be too uncomfortable. It is uncomfortable, but it's quite okay when I think that, I don't know, maybe it's a part of the blessing of the lineage, you know, because I feel also okay to do it. Because it's no more personal for me. Really not. You know, the Dharma really exists. And so there is the Dharma, there is you, there is me, but the link is with the Dharma. So I'm confident in that, you know. And yeah, I feel authorized because it's not personal, you know. It's nothing that it's not my Dharma, absolutely not.
But
so,
because you have these two conditions. One is, I mean, the order could be like you did the retreat, you got there the transmission, and then you got the authorization from your Lama. This is the two conditions which you know for yourself, like these two have to be present, not for you to teach.
Yeah, for me, it's very necessary because, but also I would say that it took time for me in order to understand that it's not personal. You know, now I feel more. But because I received that from Lama Tenzin, sure, because Lama Tenzin showed me how to be a servant of the Dharma. So now I understand that I'm a servant of the Dharma, a very low servant of the Dharma, but still I'm a servant of the Dharma. You know, this is sure. For me, this is absolutely clear. It's also absolutely clear that Lama Tenzin, for me, he has so many qualities, and I know that I have to develop his qualities totally, and I know it will take me a lot of lives, you know, to develop as much qualities as he has. But I understood, at least I understood that I am a servant of the Dharma, and because of that, so I feel okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, otherwise, no, but it's quite tricky. It's not that easy to transmit the Dharma, I think. Absolutely not. No.
Well, yes, because some people ask me, no, I say, no, I'm having teaching with you and so on. And or sharing Dharma, I mean, and then I wanted to ask you this, for knowing what was which was your path to
sure,
to jump into now giving teachings to other or sharing now.
Yes, sure. No, definitely. What I said to you explain why now I'm giving teachings, for instance. Otherwise, and even for me now to say giving teachings, sometimes it's difficult to pronounce, because I also have to accept that I am in this life. I mean, in this life, it means I am okay. It's like for myself, it's like to say, okay, I'm that. Okay, I'm a Dharma teacher. Okay. But it's not easy, huh? I have to accept, because it's a huge responsibility, and that's why I'm saying that, yeah, first, doing the retreat was absolutely necessary for me in order to that. And, but plus, without the authorization of Lama Tenzong, I would never engage myself in that path, never. But now, third, to understand that I'm a servant of the Dharma, it makes the whole things okay. Because this, I know that this is the correct path, at least. You know, even if I have no qualities, this doesn't matter. At least I can be a servant of the Dharma. So this, for that I'm sure, you know, it's not wrong. For instance, what we are doing, it's not wrong, because we try sincerely to understand something. And that's why I'm saying it's not personal, because I'm not thinking, but at any instant that I have the final understanding of what we are seeing together. It's absolutely not personal. I really have the true, I'm totally sure that with you all together, we're trying to understand. And I'm happy for that. This for me is to be the servant of the Dharma, you know.
Yeah, my personal is like, I perceive that from you, and you say, I'm happy anyway. If you take this or other, I mean, for me, it makes sense that what you are sharing in the way you share, for me, is really, really, really useful. And I think it's also very nice you are training in English, because there is so many people, like English speaker, like they will get also very, very inspired by you in now, for sure, and in the future. You know, you are training with us. Is very good.
Yeah, no, for me it's absolutely good. No, really, and I thank you for that, really, because it's a beautiful opportunity for me. And now we are making that in a very small group, and it's very comfortable like this. And now, you know, the on YouTube, you know, it's only for those they have the links. It's not, you know, spreading everywhere. It's different with the French teaching, because I'm more confident in that case. And so I think that, okay, whatever, you know, people after, if it's useful. And I know it's useful because sometimes I receive mail, you know, people, they say, I'm following, you know, sometimes I don't know them, you know, and they are saying, I discovered the teaching on YouTube and it's very nice, and it's helpful for me. So I'm happy, you know. I'm trying just to be always contacted with the joy of giving, you know. And that's all. That's all. But it's a way, you know. Otherwise, you know, I can also be trapped in pride. All the trap, you know. There is a lot of traps on the path. So hopefully, really hopefully, I have the example of Lama Tenzong. Otherwise, it will be impossible for me, you know. So he really showed me how to be a servant of the Dharma, you know, an humble one, you know. He never, you know, he never tried to be something, you know. He always presented himself as he is, you know, with his emotions, with yeah. Thank you, Ale, for your message.
Thank you. Bye. Thank you.
Bye, Ale. Bye. Bye.
Thank you again. It's so great.
Yeah. It's good. What we do is good, I think. We try to help each other. This is the main point. Anyway, no, really. Life is strange, you know. It's so funny to be in that position. Configure. It's not a question of position. It's the you know, okay, karma makes that this configuration exist, and so it happened, and so we do. It's funny. Okay.
Yeah, but this, I think it's a present because I mean, in Montchardon, you know, you are one of the, I mean, the first, I think you are the first Lama who is sharing all his life with Lama Thompson, no? I mean, a Western Lama, you know, and I think it's also beautiful, like you can transmit all those years sharing with Lama and also the love for Montchardon and everything, you know, in a Western also way, because
yes.
we see the difference between the Tibetan and Western mentality and a way of expressing, and also it's very cool that you can give this part, which is for me is very needed.
Yes, no. I'm happy for that. Yeah, sure. No, but when you think about Frédéric, he really, you know, he spent every day, you know, with the Lama. It was not my case, but yes, but we brought up, we grow up together. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
This is sure. No. It's for me. It's sometimes, you know, this is a more on a personal level, but really sometimes when I think about my life, you know, it's a wonder, you know, how it is possible that I receive to so much, you know, because, you know, sometimes I really think, but I think that how it is possible that I made, you know, I don't remember that someone in the past done very good actions. So now there is all this, you know, because in this life, you know, I'm so ordinary, you know, but I'm receiving something so extraordinary, you know. So sometimes it's totally amazing for me, you know. But okay, it's like this. So I take it as encouragement to develop the Bodhisattva path, making wishes. May I follow that path, you know, even if I'm not far from being excellent, but okay, nevertheless, you know, may I continue the path. That's all, you know, trying to, but no, but really, it's a chance. Really, it's a immense chance and luck, you know, to receive the teaching from Lama Tenzang, and to have mainly to have the opportunity of seeing the living example of a Bodhisattva. This is incredible.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Okay, dear. We make a dedication and we stop here. Sonam diye tamche sinapane tomne nyebe ranam pande kedana je bala topai sipe chole tova tovai. Thank you very much for your presence and for everything. Have a nice weekend.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, friends.
Thank you.
Okay. And take care of yourself and see you soon. Okay. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.